Wolfenstein is a big-ass game franchise. Before writing this script, the only part of Wolfenstein that I knew about was the reimagined series developed by Machine Games. Come to find out, the first ever Wolfenstein was created in 1981. Like, what? And with how important this franchise is to just gaming history, I low-key feel ashamed about not knowing the many games under Wolfenstein's belt.
You should feel ashamed. How you gonna call yourself the sensei of gaming history without knowing about the series that inspired classics like Metal Gear and the FPS genre in general? Maybe you should spend less time watching anime and more time doing research.
Whoa, wait. First of all, don't speak blasphemy on this channel, telling me, spend less time watching anime. Anime is life. Second of all, how you gonna come at me about research when you barely read the scripts I write? I'm the one doing the research. What do you do?
Son, I do the most important thing here. I bring the people and I keeps it real. I'm the one that puts the honest gaming history.
But I bring the actual… Wait, why am I even entertaining you? You always do this, always trying to distract me with arguments. No, I'm leaving this argument the bigger man, because we have a video to do.
I mean, no one's arguing, bro. I'm just speaking.
Anyways, today on Honest Gaming History, we're jumping into the world of Wolfenstein and telling you the story of William B.J. Blazkowicz.
Wait, BJ?
Bro, that was in the script. His name was actually in the title of the script. You could have got your laughs out if you just read your script.
Bro, I don't care what it says in your script. They call this man BJ. I'm gonna act up. Play that intro, son. Call this man BJ, son.
Hey, the video, bro.
Alright, I'm coming, calm your ass. So before Wolfenstein became what it is now, it was a World War II game made by Muse Software. Inspired by the shooter maze game Berserk and the British-American war film The Guns of Navarone, Muse developed Castle Wolfenstein.
It was a top-down action-adventure game that incorporated a lot of stealth mechanics. In it, the player would control an unnamed American spy, whose mission was to steal German files from Castle Wolfenstein. Being one of the earliest renditions of a stealth-based game, many stealth games that we count as legendary like the Metal Gear Solid series and Thief were influenced by it.
After Castle Wolfenstein made Muse Software some stacks, they released a sequel in 1984 dubbed Beyond Castle Wolfenstein.
This was another top-down stealth game, where the player had to sneak around a Berlin bunker to plant a bomb outside of one of Hitler's meetings. After this, Muse shut down, leaving the Wolfenstein title up for grabs. The studio who took it was id Software. In 1991, when id was hella young, they decided to create a 3D remake of Castle Wolfenstein because they were genuine fans of the series. They released it in 1992, dubbing it Wolfenstein 3D. It was the first game that featured our boy Blazkowicz. In it, he's an American spy of Polish descent who has to shoot his way out of a Nazi stronghold.
As you can probably guess, people love this shit. This title changed the game for developers and gamers everywhere. It pretty much created the FPS genre. They even call this title the grandfather of FPS games.
After Wolfenstein 3D's success, the series didn't get another game for a while. Then in 2001, Grey Matter Interactive shot their shot with the series while it oversaw development, with the release of Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
This was another World War II based FPS game featuring Blazkowicz as the protagonist. On this episode in his wild-ass life, he and an agent worked together to stop Germany from summoning the freaking dead. Following Return to Castle Wolfenstein came Wolfenstein Enemy Territory. Nothing much to say here, it was just a standalone multiplayer title that was originally planned to be an add-on.
Then Wolfenstein took a weird turn and got an RPG in 2008. Fountainhead developed a mobile game for the franchise titled Wolfenstein RPG. Here we once again find BJ taking down Nazis and destroying the forces of evil. It's kinda his thing.
A year after the franchise's RPG phase, Raven Software picked it up and brought it right back to the FPS genre, with Wolfenstein. This title was a loose sequel to Return to Castle Wolfenstein. Like its prequel, it involved Blazkowicz stopping Germany from getting a hold of supernatural powers.
Unfortunately, the title didn't do too well, so Wolfenstein took another break for a couple of years. Then finally, in 2014, Machine Games with Bethesda as the publisher released the first title in the current chapter of Wolfenstein, Wolfenstein: The New Order. This game introduced the BJ we're focusing on for today's video. Now we can actually get into his backstory.
William Joseph Blazkowicz was born in 1911 to his Polish-American father Rip and his Polish-Jewish mother Zofia. He was raised on a farm in Texas, where his bitch-ass racist father made his life a living hell. Like, this prick would lock William in their closet, beat his mom, beat him, and so much more. The only compassion he received as a kid was from his mother and his childhood crush Billy. However, his father always made it a mission to shut down whatever love came his way. This man even killed BJ's pet dog. He truly raised his kid to be a stand-in protagonist. After years of abuse, Blazkowicz ran away from home to join the United States Army. He was trained in the art of the military hand, and later joined the Allied forces in the fight against Nazi Germany in World War II.
Through his hard work, he was inducted into the OSA, the Office of Secret Actions. With them, he went on multiple high-risk missions to thwart the plans of the Nazi regime. And from what I can tell, Wolfenstein 2009 kinda sorta falls into this part of the plot. According to the devs, this game is a soft sequel to the 2009 Wolfenstein, so BJ has already had his fair share of crazy Nazi shit. But after years of fighting these guys, he ends up going right back to Castle Wolfenstein in Wolfenstein: The Old Blood. This was a prequel to the first Wolfenstein game made by Machine Games, A New Order.
The year is 1946. World War II is coming to a close, but the Allied forces are losing. Blazkowicz and Agent Richard Wesley have been sent to Castle Wolfenstein to find information on the whereabouts of a compound owned by Dr. Death's Head.
Wilhelm Death's Head Strauss is one of the main antagonists of the Wolfenstein series. He's an important figure in the German army who's been using his genius inventions to give Germany the upper hand in the war. His defeat is imperative to stopping the Nazi regime.
Blazkowicz and his partner roll up into the castle disguised as German soldiers, and eventually find the safe holding the info they need. However, when they open it, nothing's in there. They hit up their boy Kessler asking about the file, but they're interrupted by the castle's guards. They've been had.
They fight their way through as many soldiers as they can, until this man, Rudy Yeager, pops in with his cyborg dog and a super soldier. Yeah, the Nazis have giant mechanical soldiers now. Not good. BJ is then knocked the fuck out, then thrown into the Wolfenstein prison.
But at this point, Blazko is an expert at breaking out this place. He uses a pipe to climb out of this hellhole, then proceeds to fight his way through the gargantuan castle.
After decimating hordes upon hordes of German troops, he finds Wesley in an electric chair. The guy's been getting tortured by that Yeager guy. Our boy tries to save him, but Yeager comes in and electrocutes him from behind. Next thing you know, BJ finds himself in the electric chair with Yeager preparing to torture him.
And Agent Wesley is getting eaten by his dog, so this just turned into a solo mission.
The warden then begins questioning BJ about who his contact is, but our guy is a real one. He's basically like, suck my dick, you Nazi scum. So Yeager not only electrocutes him once, but twice. He even stabs BJ with the pipe he's been carrying around.
But this man Blazkowicz has the same superhuman willpower as Isaac Clarke from Dead Space, probably even more. As he's getting shocked, this dude breaks out the chair, straps Rudy into it, electrocutes him, then kills the guy's cyborg dog. I think we need to have a talk with CJ the GOAT about Blazko joining the roundtable of Black Air Force activity.
Yes, we do. So after this, Rudy dips, scared for his life, and calls on more German troops to take down BJ. But he tears through them like paper. Now that his partner is dead, his new plan is to head to the nearby village and rendezvous with Kessler.
He fights his way to Paderborn village, where he meets Kessler and a woman named Annette Krauss. Then the moment my boy gets a chance to breathe, more Nazi troops show up. These guys are like an infestation, son.
And poor Annette gets mauled by one of those cyborg dogs. She just got here, bro.
So Blazko does the damn thing. Then Rudy freaking Yeager shows up in a goddamn mech suit. He was too pussy to see my boy with the one, so he came in a battleizer. But y'all know Blazko is the realest of all time. So he flexes through the fight and stabs Rudy with the pipe. Yo, this pipe may as well be a character. It's been coming in clutch non-stop since the prison escape.
Yo, deadass. Anyways, now with part 1 of the mission complete, Blazko, Kessler, and Annette head to Wolfsburg in order to find someone named Helga. She's a Nazi leader who holds the documents they've been looking for. After finding out she's chilling at a tavern right now, he heads over there, disguises himself as a waiter, then tries to leave with the folder.
But my man gets found out immediately. Helga's like, "You think you slick, son?" Then stabs him with the knife.
BJ's dealt with worse though. He pulls it out and starts blasting. Then of all things, an earthquake hits. The whole place comes crashing down, and Helga escapes with the folder. After a while, BJ wakes up and chases after the lady, but on the way he runs into freaking zombies.
Nigga, what?
Yeah, bro. Helga has been over here researching the paranormal. Now she's making zombies. So Blazko fights his way through Nazis and zombies now, then finds Helga at her dig site. There she summons something called the Monstrosity, an angry as fuck mummified kaiju.
How did we go from finding a document to fighting zombies to now fighting titans?
That good old plot, bro. Now with this beast here, Helga starts petting it, thinking that she can tame it. Then the moment she lets her guard down, the thing grabs her and flings her through a door. Blazko wasn't trying to have this thing running around during the war, so he kills it by himself.
Built different.
After the final boss battle, he finds Helga's mangled body and takes the Death's Head compound documents. Then the place comes crashing down and a big ass rock smacks BJ in the face.
Luckily, he's found by a friend, Fergus Reed. He pulls him out of the wreckage and together, they head to Death's Head's compound.
And that ends Wolfenstein: Old Blood. Now we move to the first Wolfenstein game made by Machine Games, Wolfenstein: The New Order.
The date is July 16th, 1946. Blazkowicz, Fergus, an operative named Wyatt, and a small unit of soldiers are fighting a losing battle outside of Death's Head's compound.
Their mission? Break into the fortress and put a bullet in Death's Head's, well, head. After After crash landing and fighting mechanized monstrosities, they infiltrate the compound only to get captured by Death's Head himself. With our heroes in his grasp, the tyrannical doctor asks Blazkowicz to choose which one of his friends will get dissected by him, Fergus or Wyatt. Now, the story doesn't really change much based on the person chosen here, so for the sake of keeping the plot going, we're following the Wyatt timeline. Sorry Fergus, you're still a goat though.
So Blazko reluctantly chooses his old friend Fergus, then helplessly watches as Death's Head tortures the guy right in front of him. After the cruel show, the doctor leaves him in the room to burn from his incinerators. Luckily, Wyatt is a resourceful ass dude. He unlocks a window, allowing them to jump out before the whole room blows up. As Blazko falls out the compound, a small piece of shrapnel from the explosion lodges itself in its brain, thus knocking him unconscious. Later, he's found by a fishing boat and taken into an asylum in Poland. However, due to everything that happened, he's now in a coma. While comatose, he's taken care of by the attendants at the asylum, specifically the main nurse Anya Olowa. Then 14 years later, in 1960, disaster strikes. Nazi soldiers enter the asylum with intentions of shutting the place down. Anya's family tries to stop them, but in retaliation, they kill off her family and the patients. The soldiers move to Blazko next, but it looks like this was the push he needed to get him out of his coma. His pure hatred for the Nazi army wakes him up. Then he stabs the soldier who was gunning for him. And even though his whole body feels like jelly due to him just waking up from a 14-year coma, he powers through it and kills the rest of the Nazis who attack the asylum. This man Blazko is wild. With that, he takes Anya, and together they head to her grandparents' place. This is when Blazko discovers what happened while he was out. World War II is over. Germany won and now rules the world. The US surrendered 12 years ago after Germany dropped atomic bombs in the country. Now there isn't even a resistance effort. Everyone has been captured. Poor Billy does not take this news well, but being the real ass dude that he is, he knows he doesn't have time to mope around about the loss. He's returned to the fight, so it's time to take this world back from the Nazi regime. The first thing he needs to do is free the resistance known as the Kreisau Circle, which he finds out is being held in Berlin. After getting a nice new fit from Grandpa Olowa, BJ hops on a train to Berlin with Anya, thanks to some assistance from her grandparents. Looks like these guys are as down for saving the world as he is. Once on the train, he's stopped by a high-ranking Nazi officer named Irene Engel. She pulls a Helga and tests to see if he's actually German, and luckily he passes the test this time, and remains incognito. Following that scare, he is back to his room where he and Anya release all their pent-up stress by getting busy. Damn, not only is this man fucking on the mission, he's doing it in enemy territory. That's some badass shit right there. The two make it to Berlin. Then with Anya's help, BJ breaks into Eisenwald prison. There he's reunited with Wyatt. Together they fight their way out the prison. Then with the help of the Bay, once again, they make it to a resistance base in Berlin. Here he meets the leader of the Kreisau Circle, an old friend of his named Caroline Becker. She was actually in Wolfenstein 2009. With Blazko here, Caroline believes that they finally have a chance to fight back against the Nazi regime. She calls for a meeting and goes over the first plan of attack. Project Whisper is a top-secret experiment that the Nazis have been working on for a while. The experiment involves specially designed helicopters that move in silence and are pretty much untrackable. The Resistance wants to steal these helicopters. This is where William comes in. His mission is to infiltrate the London Nautica and hijack the helicopters. After Blazko successfully breaks into the place thanks to a sacrifice made by one of the Resistance members, he finds documents of something called the Da'at Yeshud. Then with the Circle's help, they rob the Germans of their special helicopters. Back at base, Anya looks into the Da'at Yeshud and finds out they are an ancient secret society who developed technological advances beyond their time. One of the inventions they created was Uber Concrete, a special type of super concrete that was designed to be extremely durable. The Nazi Empire has been using this technology for their current inventions. However, their version of it is not perfect. The concrete has been deteriorating over time due to someone sabotaging the formula. The only living person who has ties to the Da'at Yeshud is a man named Set Roth. However, he's been imprisoned in Camp Bellica, which is run by the same Irene Engel that Blazkowicz met on the train to Berlin. So the mission now is to find this Set Roth in order to find out more about the Da'at Yeshud. Shortly after breaking into the death camp, BJ finds the inventor and tells him that it's time to get the hell out this joint. Set obliges, but he has one condition. He wants to put an end to this horrific camp. Y'all know Blazko loves tearing down Nazi scum, so he accepts the terms and works with Set to take this place down. Then when Irene finds them, they get one of her boss to rip her face apart. Damn, she was looking rough before, but now her face is straight up nightmare fuel. With Engel disposed of for the moment, Blazko takes Set along with a few other prisoners and heads back to the Resistance base. There, Set tells them what he knows. The Nazi regime found the safekeeps that held the Da'at Yeshud's research and stole in order to empower themselves. They then forced Set to create Uber Concrete for their inventions, but knowing how dangerous this technology would be in the wrong hands, Set sabotaged his own creation. This is why the concrete has been deteriorating over time. However, the Nazis missed one special safe keep that holds knowledge so advanced a regular person would think it's magic. This keep is located deep within the Atlantic Ocean though, so they're going to need a U-boat to get there. Of course they volunteer poor Billy for the U-boat mission, and he manages to hijack Ava's Hammer, Germany's most formidable U-boat. And according to Wyatt, this thing is equipped with nuclear cannons that they can use to decimate Death's Head's compound. Clutch.
Unfortunately, once they make it inside the Da'at-Yashid safekeep, they find out they need to go to the Nazi lunar base in order to get the codes for the weapon.
Wait, isn't this 1960? How the hell did they manage to get a base up on the moon?
Da'at-Yashid technology be real, yo. So now William has to head to the moon.
What would the world do without this man?
Our boy sneaks his way onto the lunar base, grabs the codes, then somehow survives crash landing back on Earth.
But before anyone has a chance to celebrate, Blazko finds out that the same Engel who got her face fucked up is back and attacking the Resistance HQ in Berlin. Our boy's like, welp, can't have that, then beelines it to the base.
After fighting through even more Nazi scum, he finds out that Anya, Set, and more of the Resistance have been taken to Death's Head's compound. He reunites with Caroline, he's using this dope-ass power suit they found in the Da'at-Yashid safekeep, and Wyatt. Then they formulate their final plan: infiltrate Death's Head's compound, save their friends, then blow the compound to pieces.
And guess who has to do 90% of the things on this mission? Our boy Blazkowicz. These Resistance niggas don't want to do shit.
Nah, they've been pretty helpful so far. So William makes a second visit to Death's Head's compound. He storms the place with the thought of his friends and his bae Anya pushing him forward. He eventually finds his friends and helps them escape, but they get separated on the way out. Then he confronts Death's Head for the last time.
But he doesn't fight the guy. Nah, instead, this crazy ass tyrant sends a robot with the brain of his fallen friend Fergus, the same guy that was dissected in the beginning of this game. Who does that?
Blazko was then left with no choice but to kill his old friend. After the fight, Death's Head shows up in his own mech suit.
Pissed, our boy gives the doctor the business. Then he pulls the guy out of his suit and starts stabbing the shit out of him. However, Death's Head isn't going down so easily. He pulls out a grenade and blows himself up right in front of Blazko.
With barely any strength left and critical wounds covering his whole body, he crawls to the window as Wyatt asks if they're clear to shoot the nuclear cannon. After making sure that all his friends escaped alive, he tells Wyatt to go for it, thus sacrificing himself for the sake of the mission. And that's how the story of BJ ends. He died as a true American hero to protect his friends. Or that would be the case if this man was a normal ass dude. Y'all know Blazko by now. A measly grenade wouldn't do him in. This event just takes us out of Wolfenstein: The New Order and into Wolfenstein: The New Colossus. Before the compound gets blasted, BJ's friends come in looking for him. Once they find him, they're shocked by the condition he's in. His insides are all messed up, he's bleeding a lot, shit's a mess.
The Resistance wastes no time scooping him up and starting the recovery process, but the damage he took puts him in another coma. This time he's out for 5 months. During these 5 months, more people rise against the Nazi regime thanks to Blazkowicz's heroism. The Krasow circle is growing and becoming stronger than it ever was.
And it's revealed that our boy's gonna be a father. Anya is pregnant with twins. But everything goes to shit once again right before William wakes up. Once out of his coma, he's woken by an attack on Ava's hammer. Frau Engel has been looking for him since he took her out the first time, and it looks like she finally found him. BJ quickly notices what's going on, but due to the damage he's received back at the compound, he's only a fraction of the warrior he once was. He's suffering from kidney failure, his damaged intestines had to get cut out, and now he's stuck in a wheelchair.
Regardless, y'all know this man hates Nazis. A damaged body isn't gonna stop him from doing what he does best, so while in a wheelchair, Blazko starts fighting off the intruders.
Sadly though, it doesn't take much time for them to realize that they're not going to win this battle. Against the judgment of his friends, Blazko gives himself up to Irene, who already has Caroline and Wyatt captured.
This evil ass lady starts talking all kinds of shit when she sees her nemesis. She's like, bruh, all that shit you were doing in the last game and this is what you've amounted to? Sucks to suck, don't it?
Then she kills Caroline right in front of BJ and mocks him with her severed head. Now it's Wyatt's turn, but Irene's daughter Sigrun has had enough. She's not really about all the crazy Nazi shit. She holds off her mother to give Wyatt enough time to fight back, and Blazko enough time to put on the Yashid power suit.
Now with the usable body, our hero starts going off, killing every soldier he runs into. Eventually he gets them off their tail, giving the team the chance to escape.
After the battle, they have a short funeral for Caroline, then begin discussing their next strategy. Now that the Nazi Empire is losing its foothold on the world, they need a way to do even more damage to them. According to Caroline, there was a resistance faction in the States. If they can team up with them, then together they can spark a second American Revolution. With their plan set, they make their way to America with Sigrun as a new recruit. They decided to accept her into their group since she low-key saved their lives. However, even though taking down the Nazi Empire should be something everyone is excited about, BJ isn't doing too well. He found out that because of the damage done to his body, he doesn't have much longer left to live. This gets him depressed and forces him to distance himself from his girl and his friends. Regardless, the squad makes it to the best city in the world, New York, and there BJ meets members of the American Resistance, Grace Walker and her husband Norman Super Spec Caldwell.
They chop it up for a bit after Blazko reveals that he's one of them, but then more Nazis show up like the infestation they are. Our boy does his thing and wipes them all out, then everyone regroups in Ava's hammer.
And once they make it back to base, there's a scene where Super Spesh peeps that they have a toilet, and he just gets so emotional about it. Like, my man starts going on his knees and thanking God for having a working toilet and some toilet paper on deck. The scene is precious. Honestly, a lot of the scenes in this game are amazing. In fact, the way the series presents itself in general is just superb. I love how much life these characters have. Even BJ expresses himself and comes off as more human thanks to his mannerisms and the little monologues he has throughout each of the games. The designs for the weapons are cool too. It's like military steampunk. I don't know if that's a thing, but if it isn't, it should be. But I'm sorry for that tangent. I just needed a sec to tell y'all how stunning these games are in terms of the storytelling and the visuals. Anyways, back to the plot. Back on the hammer, Grace takes charge and is like, listen, we gotta drop a nuke on Roswell because the Nazi high command just moved there. Then Seth is like, hold up, that's the location of a dot you should safe keep. Then Grace is like, even more reason to do this then. So their next mission is to set a bomb right where the Nazi high command is, which now that I think about it, sounds very similar to what happened in Beyond Castle Wolfenstein.
To get to Roswell, he first meets with Super Spesh over at his diner. This guy has a tunnel to their target in Roswell, which he dubs Area 52. Blazkowicz does his thing, tears through a bunch of Nazis, y'all know the deal. Then he plants a bomb and blows the place up. Mission accomplished, right? Then he's like, hold up, I've got some free time. Then goes back to his home in Dallas to grab his mother's engagement ring. It's looking like he's gonna propose to Anya.
But right after he picks up his mother's ring, his father shows up talking that hot shit.
That old ass racist is still alive?
Yup, and he's still racist. This guy even admits to giving up his wife to the Nazi soldiers.
Yo, what is wrong with this man?
He's racist. So then his dad straight up tells him that he's down for the Nazi regime, which is not surprising. Then he points his gun at our boy.
But Blazkowicz like, bitch ass daddy, you think guns scare me now? Then he kills the shit out of the old man.
But the guy was on the phone with Nazis the whole time. Frau Engel and her forces come crashing down and finally overwhelm him. He's then captured and sentenced to a public execution. Super Spesh tried to save him by posing as his lawyer, but sadly, that only led to him getting shot. And that sucks, because I really like Super Spesh.
So the day of the execution comes, and these evil ass bastards televise the shit.
They bring BJ up and set him on the chopping block. Then Irene raises her weapon. And at this point, I was like, aight, somebody is definitely gonna come in and save my boy. There is no way the protagonist is gonna get killed off. But bro, Irene dead chops this man's head off, and you have to watch it from his point of view. The shit was chilling, son. Then she holds up his head like it's Simba from Lion King.
God damn!
But this is where shit gets wild. When this lady drops Blazkowicz head, a drone being controlled by the resistance comes in and grabs it, then brings it back to the hammer. Then in HQ, they show that they have this bioengineered super soldier body that was developed by Death's Head a while ago. Apparently Caroline found it while Blazkowicz was in his coma. So the GOAT set attaches Blazkowicz head to the body. Now our boy is actually superhuman.
Damn, Germany did gave themselves an even bigger problem.
Hell yeah. But after BJ's return, everyone welcomes him back with just genuine love. Like his friends are happy, Anya's happy, and he's happy, which is dope because he's been on that sad boy time for the majority of the game.
Now it's time to get back to business and handle these goddamn Nazis. New Orleans is home to another resistance cell led by a guy named Horton, but Nazis are on their way over there right now to purge the place. The squad can't have that, so they're on their way to New Orleans right now. Once there, BJ fights his way through hordes of the infestation, then he finds Horton and his resistance group.
After taking the guy on in a drinking competition, BJ successfully earns their trust. Then the New Orleans squad joins the main squad. With more friends, they create another plan to bring the fight to the Nazis. The Ausmerzer is a sky fortress that Germany built to keep the US in check. With this thing, the resistance can put a huge dent in their enemies' defenses. They're going to steal it and use it against them, but they're going to need special codes to gain access to the thing. Codes that are being kept by the rest of the Nazi high command. And guess where these guys are hiding?
The moon? Again?
Nah. Fucking Venus.
Bruh, how?
So to sneak onto the planet, BJ poses as an actor for a special movie the High Command is filming. And the role he's going for just so happens to be for himself. Since he's dead, they're making a propaganda filmed movie about how the Nazis heroically defeated the terrorist William J. Blazkowicz. And it turns out the one producing this movie is Hitler himself.
Well, shit.
Once BJ makes it to the auditions, he comes face to face with the Fuhrer, who brutally kills everyone except for him once he chooses him for the movie role.
After the massacre, Blazkowicz goes into badass mode and robs the base of the codes. Then he hijacks a ship and heads back home.
Back at base, he's welcomed back with a surprise birthday party. Apparently it's Blazkowicz' 50th birthday.
Even though he doesn't look a day over 30.
One night full of drinking and partying later, the team finds themselves planning out their final attack. Frau Engel is scheduled to appear on a TV show which leaves the Ausmerzer wide open. They're going to hijack it, then finally put the German commander down.
The squad successfully breaks into the Sky Fortress, then inputs the codes. Now the Ausmerzer is under their control. We got your shit, bitch!
Now it's time to start a revolution. While Engel is still on TV, the squad holds a production crew at gunpoint. Then while the program is still being televised, our boy Terror Billy walks in and jams an axe right into Engel's face. Then before the credits roll, the squad announces to the people of America that this war is not over. This is their time to fight back and reclaim their country. And with that, Wolfenstein: The New Colossus comes to an end. Now, the last two games in the franchise don't really have BJ at the forefront of the story, but we're going over them anyways. The first is Wolfenstein Cyberpilot. This VR title actually has nothing to do with Blazko. It takes place 19 years after the new Colossus and has to do with the former Nazi combat droid fighting off Nazis in France. The next and last game in the franchise so far is Wolfenstein Youngblood. This one has way more to do with Blazko because it's centered on his daughters.
It's been a week since the events of Cyberpilot. Thanks to our boys' efforts in the Second American Revolution, the US has been reclaimed. The world now sees him as a war hero, and his influence runs strong in all the places still fighting against the Nazi regime.
On a personal level though, he's now a happy father and husband. He married Anya after driving the Germans out of the States, and she gave birth to their two daughters, Sophia and Jess.
As you'd expect, BJ and Anya wasted no time in training these guys. Now they're hardened badasses who are ready for the smoke.
However, things quickly take a turn for the worse as it usually does in this timeline. Not too long after the revolution, Blazkowicz assassinated Hitler, which sounds good, right? But apparently this man created a doomsday device meant to go off in the event of his death. Blazko notices this when he peeps out the skies have been acting up, so he heads out to Nazi-controlled France without telling anyone to figure out a way to fix his mistake.
Jess, Sophia, and Grace's daughter Abby find out about this, then go looking for him. In the process, they discover a secret organization called the Fourth Reich, being led by a Lothar Brandt.
Under Lothar's command, they want to overthrow the current Nazi regime in order to make a new, much stronger one. After this revelation, they find their father who tells them why he left. But outside of the Doomsday device, Blazko admits that he found out something even crazier. He discovered that there are multiple different dimensions.
Wait, they're adding parallel universes to this shit now?
I mean, these guys have already brought back the dead and made bases in space. I feel like either time travel or multiple dimensions were bound to come next. So after revealing this mind-breaking discovery, BJ starts talking like he's given up. He saw a world where the Nazis lost the war, and knowing that this world is slowly becoming inhabitable thanks to him is tearing him up.
But his daughters are like, fuck them other dimensions. We're going to keep fighting till we make our world worth living.
This motivates him to join his daughters in the fight against the Fourth Reich. Then with his help, they manage to take out Lothar before he's able to carry out his plans.
Unfortunately, this wasn't enough to take down the new regime though. Even with the death of Lothar, they still pose a threat to the world.
Along with that, Hitler's doomsday device is still slowly destroying the planet. So BJ decides to stop working solo and reunite with his wife and Grace. Their goal now is to put an end to the Fourth Reich, thus hopefully putting an end to the Nazi regime once and for all. As for their daughters, they stay back in Paris in order to protect it from more Nazi forces. And that, my friends, is the story of William goddamn Blazkowicz until Wolfenstein 3 comes out. This game will finish the Wolfenstein trilogy and finally put an end to this war that has been going on for far too long.
Sadly, there is not a release date set for this game yet, and not much information is known about it. But according to the game's creative director, Jens Mathies, Hitler will be making a return as Mecha Hitler.
Well, that doesn't sound good. Hopefully we get more news on this game soon. After writing this script, I gotta say I've become a huge fan of this series. The Machine Games edition of Wolfenstein is top tier, one of the best World War II based games I've come across. Can't wait for the third game to come out so I can play all of them in order straight through. Maybe I'll stream the whole thing, who knows? Let us know in the comments how you feel about not only the Machine Games Wolfenstein series, but the franchise as a whole. We understand a lot of you guys grew up with this series, so we want to hear your thoughts. But with that being said, end slate. Yo, what's good, fam? And thank you guys so much for watching another episode of Honest Gaming History. But real quick before we get into the closing notes, I just want to give a shout out to my girl Anya from Wolfenstein. Cause in the new Colossus, she went through that whole game pregnant. Shooting Nazis, getting missions done, doing all that shit. Basically, no different than how she was in the last Wolfenstein games. And she did all that shit pregnant, bro. So I just gotta give a quick shout out and kudos to Anya because she a real one. Anyways, I told you I was going to try to get more Honest Gaming History out for you guys. And look, we have another one ready for you before the month ends, so I'm happy about that. But if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment to us you want to see me cover in future episodes of Honest Gaming History. And I do have some good news. This does not mean that he's confirmed to come out next, but Aakash has given me an idea of how we can go about the Sora video. So, a Kingdom Hearts video could be in the works soon. We'll see, but Aakash raised a very good point about how we can go about editing this video, and I think I'm willing to try it. Anyways, subscribe if you want to see more of me, and hit that bell if you want to be notified whenever I upload new content. Shout out to my amazing, my beautiful patrons, the people who give an extra buck to help your boy out. Love you guys and appreciate what you do for the channel. And shout out to my Gold Squad patrons: Beer Revel, Curtis Clarkson, Daniel Gonzalez, DD, Dylan Boner, G Haven Esports Team, Graham Lansborough, Jakari Scott, Jarrell Horan, Mustard Gas, Terry, Trav Will, Victor Garcia, and Zach Haji. Appreciate you guys for giving a lot more to the channel. Thanks to you guys, I'm able to pay my editor and also add little things to make the videos just a little bit better each time. But yeah, appreciate you guys for watching, and with that being said, I am off this. So be easy, stay lit, stay healthy out there. Black Lives Matter, and don't forget, you can do whatever the hell you put your mind to. All it takes is practice and time. Peace out, fam.